I was tempted to take the oath with you. It scared me. I've never had such strong feelings toward anyone.
Nor have I.
Then it was more than just a point of honor.
Set a course for love.
Ah, yes. One of your earth emotions.
Glad I found you.
Let's get married.
Delete the wife.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Deep Space Love, Star Trek podcast, where we explore love and romance throughout the final frontier as a husband and wife team. I'm wife of the team, Nicole.
I'm husband of the team then, Joe?
Yes, in our relationship, yes, that's how it works.
That's what I hear.
Anyway, it's been a few minutes, but we're back. And actually, today's kind of a special day for us. On the day we're recording, it's our 12-year wedding anniversary.
Happy anniversary, wife of the podcast.
Happy anniversary, Joe.
Thank you.
So we had a nice day today, and now we're wrapping up the end of our day, chatting Star Trek and loving Star Trek.
Yeah, really nice way to cap out our anniversary day. We had a really pleasant day, getting out in nature, doing some stuff indoors as well, and this is a fun way to end it off. Chatting Star Trek is always a pleasure, and chatting Star Trek with you makes it even better.
Agreed. As much as we'd love to chat, we actually have a lot going on in today's episode. We're talking about 2 different Star Trek episodes, and after that, please stay tuned for a bonus interview, which we'll get into. But that's going to cap out the episode for you today. So once we're done talking, don't shut us off. Right.
So if you read the episode title here, you know who we're discussing, what couple we're discussing, and then which episodes probably we're discussing here. But at the end of this episode, we have a bonus interview with Suzie Plakson, or K'Ehleyr herself. It's a really fun little chat. So be sure to stick around for that, and don't miss that.
All right, Joe. I think next up would be Trek Check.
You're right. Before we get into the episode itself, yeah, we do have our annual Trek Check.
Annual.
I don't know why I said annual. I was trying to think of an adjective to come before Trek Check, and that was the first thing that came to my mind, and regret it instantly. It's not annual. It's just every time we talk.
All right. So what's the news, Joe?
Well, I just kind of, on the first thing, the last time that we chatted, it was a while. So there's lots of Trek news up. But the big one is pretty much for almost the entirety of our time that we hadn't been chatting, there was a big writer's strike and an actor's strike. The WGA and SAG-AFTRA had a big strike. WGA did reach an agreement and are getting back to work. So we wanted to just give a shout out to our support for the writers that make all the content that we love, and all the work that they put in, and all the stuff that they're able to accomplish with the strike, and to show support for that. And I also just wanted to show our continued support for the actors who are still out there striking.
Yes.
And any other creative industries that are even looking at contract negotiations coming up in the coming years. There are a few more. So we're seeing a lot of important movements in the labor world, and especially among the people who make the content and create the things that we love. I don't even want to use the word content, like the stories that we love, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to show our solidarity with those folks.
We are a pro-union podcast here.
Pro-union.
We are both parts of unions ourselves, and yeah, go unions.
Go unions, agreed. But anyway, for Trek news that I have for you, we have a couple series that have come and gone since the last time we chatted. We had all of season 2 of Strange New Worlds, which we got to watch week to week here at home. Just to give a little thoughts on the season. What did you think of Strange New World season 2?
I loved it. It was great. I really liked some of the different things that they were doing this season. The one thing that really sticks out is the musical episode. I know that was for some people that might have been a bold choice, but it was, for me, it ended up being a great choice, in my opinion, among other things. And I don't know, we're just getting to know some of the characters in a deeper way. And I really liked the story arc around Una and her coming back into the fold after that kind of cliffhanger ending at the end of season 1. So I was very satisfied, and I'm excited for the next season.
Agreed. It was definitely a strong opening. The first couple episodes are really strong. I think that this was fun to see as a very like experimental season where they're trying new things. Like you said, with the musical, we had the Lower Decks crossover, which was huge.
God, how did I forget that? That was amazing.
It was very cool. So it's just fun to see them take some big swings or boldly go, if you will, with some storytelling premises. So I appreciate a lot of that. I think there was fun. I really like the characters, like the cast, like the the ship design, the set design, the art departments in that show is so phenomenal. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I'm still like a little uncertain with where they're going to go with the whole Gorn storyline. That's the big, I mean, spoilers. There's a cliffhanger. I won't say too much else. There was a cliffhanger at the end. If you haven't seen it, sorry for spoiling that. Skip ahead, I guess. Oh, anyway. But I won't say much more about the finale. I'm just curious because the Gorn have been a big part of Strange New Worlds to see what they're going to do with it, and how not that canon is the most important thing anyway, but how that kind of reconciles with what we see in Arena. So I'll be curious, and I have a lot of faith in these writers in general. So I'll be curious to see what they do with that.
Okay, and
then now we are currently in the throes of Lower Decks season 4, about like halfway-ish through it, maybe a little more.
I think we're just over.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say I've been thinking this has been a pretty strong season overall. I don't really feel like there's been a lot of misses for me. I think there's definitely a confidence that show has gained over the past few seasons, and it's on full display here, where they're just the actors are so comfortable with those characters, the writers seem to be so comfortable with the characters, and everything really comes together well, I'd say. So what have you been thinking of season 4 so far?
Again, love it. When we did our rankings of all the series a few months ago, I'm pretty sure Lower Decks and Strange New Worlds were like at the top of my list. So I'm loving all of it, from Lower Decks and Strange New Worlds. So I think I would just echo everything you said about Lower Decks. This season has definitely showing its confidence in like where it's at and what it's doing. And 110%, I'm here for it.
Same. Yeah, I've liked a lot of the stuff they've done. I really, really loved the Orion episode, the one in the Orion homeworld. I thought that was really fun. It was probably the like strongest glimpse we've had into that culture and of any Star Trek. Yeah. So that was a really fun like addition to canon in a sense.
Yeah, I think they're doing right by Tendi and Rutherford this season for sure. I think that they sometimes, that's my one critique of the show, is they sometimes have kind of sidelined them, or they feel more like sidekicks almost to Boimler and Mariner, but I think that they have been allowed to shine very brightly in this season and last season too. So I love that. They're great characters.
Agreed. Next item on Trek checklist, there was some interesting announcements on Star Trek Day that this year, which was I would kind of argue was a little bit of a sad kind of day. It was weird to see them do this whole like thing without the actors and the writers involved, so it was kind of a weird. Anyway, but I'm they always try to do something. Paramount does something for Star Trek Day, but they made this big announcement that Star Trek is partnering with Kid Cudi for this new Boldly Be campaign. I don't know if you heard much about that, but that was an interesting announcement where they're collaborating on a new song, and he's going to be part of like some sort of Fortnite crossover. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about it. I think it's probably like a cool thing for Star Trek, but I mean, I'm not a kind of a Fortnite guy myself, but I mean, for people who play that, I'm sure that's a really exciting announcement. It sounds like very much from like a very more like businessy branding perspective of things than a really like storytelling place. But I mean, there's definitely a place for that too, I'm sure. So what do you think about that?
I don't have a lot of thoughts on that. I don't think that I knew about that. You might have mentioned it one day to me, and I was like, "Oh, okay," and then kind of moved.
I like Kid Cudi. I mean, it's got good stuff. But so I'm excited for the song for sure.
Yeah. Yay song. I don't know much. Honestly, you would have to explain to me what Fortnite is, but I don't think we should.
It's not the place
too
here.
Much time. No. So
yeah,
it's a video game, right?
Yes. You could say that. Yes.
You could say that?
Yeah, you could say that.
It's a weird way to say. Confirm that.
It's a weird way to say
yes or no question.
Yes. We'll go with yes. Yeah.
All right. And okay.
Also, big news: Star Trek Prodigy.
Okay,
Yeah, you're wondering if I can bring that one up.
Yeah.
Is coming to Netflix. We are going to see season 2 in 2024. I'm very excited to hear that.
Mhm.
Congratulations to the Prodigy team, and way to go to all the fans. Like, right, really plugging for the show and showing support. So happy that that they're going to get their due there and get to at least show season 2 and then hopefully beyond.
Beyond.
Yeah. One more quick thing I wanted to talk about for Trek Check is we had an interesting Star Trek experiment for the 50th anniversary of the animated series. There was the Very Short Trek little series. Very Short Treks little series that we had with 5 episodes. They were like ranging from about 2 to 5 minutes, I think. In the style of the kind of original series animations, lots of actors provided their voices, or a lot of the Trek actors provided the voices for their characters. And they were very silly kind of episodes based on like kind of an idea for a joke that was kind of stretched into a couple minutes. So what did you think of that kind of experiment?
I really enjoyed it. I kind of knew what the vibe might be going into them, so I don't think I was like thrown off by what it was putting out there. And right, they've made it clear that it's not like this. The things that happen are not within canon, like you said. It's a joke and just taking it into a certain direction. And I just thought it was fun. I mean, yeah, almost anything that you're going to put out that is Star Trek related, I think I'm going to probably enjoy. So I don't know. I kind of like that style of humor, so I thought it was hilarious for the most part. So
yeah, I think the emphasis on not canon, like just being like some sort of silly experiment that they're doing with like a different style of like storytelling, different kind of medium. Yeah, like kind of growing up in that era of really weird Adult Swim stuff that happened. I think that we were like it was a very small target audience for that almost when you think about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, we watched it a little bit later than I think it hit. And I think so I saw some of the reactions. So I kind of knew what to expect going into them.
Yeah.
I know it was contentious for some people, but I had fun with it. Like they're silly, they're dumb. But I just appreciate that you see like Star Trek as
I think
franchise.
Some love was in there. I think there was too. So I feel like,
and I appreciate that they're doing things like that and trying like weird experimental things like that. Like not a lot of big franchises can necessarily say that they're, swinging or playing outside the sandbox or like trying something really weird and different like that. A lot of them are playing it safe, and a lot of times today, So I appreciate that. Especially the last 2, I think, were my favorites overall.
Yeah.
Yeah, the musical one was a trip.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah.
It was great. And if anything, they're literally very short, as the title states. So it's like, even if you didn't like it, it's only like 10 minutes maybe of your life that was spent watching them, or it's 10 minutes of content or Star Trek that's just not for you, and I think that's fine.
Agreed. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, anyway, it was fun. I'm happy we watched it. We got to check it out. There are probably plenty other pieces of news and tidbits. Lots of comic news came out, book stuff we aren't going to get to here just because it's been a little while, but we are going to move on next. And I think those are some of the big highlights, the broad strokes from like Trek news and the Trek world. But yeah, that's what I got.
Computer, status report. What the hell was that?
And Quay, so what is the episodes, or two episodes in the relationship?
So as we mentioned before, we are talking about Worf and K'Ehleyr here. We are talking about 2 episodes where the 2 appear together. The episode season 2, episode 20, The Emissary. A little bit of a synopsis that I pulled from the internet here. We got: to prevent war being waged in the Federation, a half Klingon emissary, who is also an ex-girlfriend of Worf, is taken on board, and Worf masquerades as captain. That was the synopsis. Kind of interesting. Again, broad strokes. And the other episode we're talking about, jump a few forward in the seasons, is season 4, episode 7, Reunion. And the synopsis is: while Worf deals with a personal dilemma, Picard mediates a power struggle between successors to the Klingon Empire. And if I didn't mention before, which I did not, these are episodes from The Next Generation.
You might have, but...
yeah, if I did, I mentioned it again.
Good to make it clear. Because Worf is in multiple.
He is in a lot of series.
He's in a lot of Trek.
Yeah, at this point. But yeah, so those are the two episodes we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the relationship between Worf and K'Ehleyr a little bit. But before we jump into that, why don't we share kind of our thoughts on the episodes as a whole? Like, what did you think? Let's start with Emissary, the first one we watched. What did you think of that one?
I think they're both really good episodes. I'm just going to maybe, instead of
just one,
yeah, I think that they're both really good episodes. And probably, I mean, Reunion, I think, is probably a little bit stronger episode, but I think the Emissary introduced some very interesting things about the Klingons, and then of course these two characters, K'Ehleyr and Worf. So I don't know, I'll get into kind of, I think, overall thoughts. I think I just want to say that I think that they're pretty strong episodes overall, and I mean, the Klingon stuff is always very interesting, at least in TNG era, and particularly I think it's some really good material, and it was really great for Worf as a character, and also Picard, as is mentioned, he's kind of pulled into some of this Klingon politics. So it's interesting to see how he deals with that, and like the Federation's relationship to Klingons in general, which is frenemies at best. So yeah, what are your thoughts on the episodes?
Yeah, I think they're both pretty strong as well. I agree. I think the Emissary, the season 2 episode, it definitely has that vibe of a season 2 episode where, it's definitely an episodic piece versus Reunion, which is more part of a larger arc. I think that I liked in the Emissary, there's the main plot feels more about like K'Ehleyr and Worf, right? That's kind of the main, the A plot of it. And like kind of the idea of this old like Klingons that are from the wartime era, like possibly coming out of cryogenic sleep, and they have to like kind of deal with that. It's sort of like a B plot. And so I think that they do a good job of intertwining those plots together. And so watching this all play out, I think it's a really well done like balancing act of an episode. It's a great introduction to K'Ehleyr as a character. Suzie Plakson was phenomenal in the role. Like really sells this kind of character who's of like, of two worlds, right? Like the idea that half human, half Klingon. I think that having like Worf, he's also being raised by humans. He's not half human, but he's got like one foot in the door of like humanity, I'd say.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's the kind of stuff we'll dig into.
We'll dig into that. And I think this episode really showcases that very well, where she's like, I'm not really feeling Klingon culture, like that comes off well and she plays it really well. I think Reunion might be a slightly stronger episode because it's really like establishing a lot of things. It's got some great like Picard speeches. It's like more like traditionally, like when you think about TNG, kind of like some of the great episodes, it feels like one of those. I think the stuff with Worf and K'Ehleyr was a little bit more relegated to the B plot in that episode, but I still think that stuff was pretty strong. Like there was, you need to know a lot of other things going into like the stuff about Worf's house being dishonored, or the Worf being taking official dishonor from the Empire and all that stuff.
Yeah. So technically, if you're going to come back to these episodes after listening to our episode, there's some context you may be missing if you either haven't watched those other relevant episodes in a while,
right,
or
yeah.
never watched them.
They do get like, they give those episodes lines, like they're telling, oh, when I accepted dishonor at this one time for this, or so they kind of explain it. But yeah, if you want more context, you probably want to watch a couple more episodes from season, I believe 3. But yeah, I think Reunion was really solid. I think the stuff with Worf and K'Ehleyr in there was good. Like it was a good next step from where they'd last seen each other. Bringing Alexander into the picture was an interesting mix. So yeah, ultimately there's just a lot of interesting stuff.
Yeah. So launching into, I think one of the most interesting aspects of this relationship is their identity within the Klingon culture. So as you mentioned, K'Ehleyr is half human and half Klingon, and Worf is a full-blooded Klingon, but was raised by humans. And so I think the way that they each approach that is a fascinating like dynamic between them, as the kind of, as the relationship plays out, since Worf's kind of identity crisis in a way, like trying to be as Klingon as possible and always insisting on the rituals and just like the thought process of honor and what is honorable according to Klingon like customs and things like that. Whereas she rejects all of that very swiftly and harshly, frankly. I mean, she essentially mocks him in a way at some points.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, but I mean, she's such a great character though, which again, there will be spoilers for kind of the ending of Reunion. If you haven't watched that, then just beware. There will be some spoilers that we'll talk about. So, yeah, I just think that's one really interesting aspect to their relationship and makes it rather complex.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I think that's what makes it the whole thing so fascinating. I think like Worf, yeah, like they have this like attraction for each other. It's undeniable, but like Worf is reluctant to it. I mean, she wants to pursue it, but even when she wants to pursue it, like she doesn't want to be, committed for life. Like we've heard this before, like that Worf's talked about, oh, Klingons mate for life, this whole thing. And so like when they kind of get it on in the holodeck, he's like, all right, let's take the oath. We're bonded forever now. And she's like, no, absolutely not. I'm not about that, And so like that in a nutshell is an interesting like look at their relationship. But later on, there's also the element where they're kind of like, did this mean nothing to, or does it only mean honor? And I think that's another interesting layer to peel back to. Like for Worf, does mating or being together, does it only mean honor to him, or does he actually care about her? That's her question. And for Worf, it's like he's like, do you just want to like have fun, or do you actually care about me? So like stripping away the honor, stripping away like the culture of it, they're both trying to figure out like,
do we care for each
do
other?
we care for each other?
Do you care for me? Rather?
Yeah, and of course they're just bad at communicating that, right?
Yeah,
like that throughout both episodes. So I think that's just like a cool like other piece to it. Like there's so many layers that you can kind of peel back to it, and it's well written, it's well done, I think. Overall. Yeah,
it was interesting watching the Alexander reveal, having been through Picard season 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
spoilers again if you haven't watched Picard season 3, go do that. Anyway, but the lines that Worf mentions, like, you should have told me, and like, just kind of that whole thing where it's like, you started raising like our son together without telling me like that I was ever even a father, like not even giving me a chance not giving me the chance to be a father, essentially, was just some interesting echoes from the Crusher, Picard, and Jack storyline in Picard season 3. And then
it's interesting. We do have quite. I mean, you mentioned Picard, but like also Kirk kind of had a secret son too, right? Right? Like David.
Yeah,
there's a lot of secret kids and
secret sons
in Star Trek.
Is that the episode title?
Secrets. I don't know. Secret sons. Maybe.
You don't like it.
I don't know.
You don't like it. Just say so.
Secret sons.
I guess it's really just one son that we're actually talking about in this.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, continue.
Yeah, now that you say that, it is fascinating. Also, again, we talked about this afterwards, but just this relationship is so brief because it's these 2 episodes, and we actually spend so much more time with Worf and Jadzia in Deep Space Nine. Again, spoilers. Jadzia dies in Deep Space Nine towards the end, and so coming back to this relationship again, I felt it was so unfair that Worf has to experience the death of like 2 of his mates, or I guess him and K'Ehleyr didn't get married technically, but romantic loves, having to like essentially watch them. Well, he doesn't watch Jadzia die, but you know what I mean? Like he has to deal with like this tragic loss. Like, I just really feel for Worf.
Yeah. Right. I mean, yeah, Worf's seen some shit. Yeah, it's a lot. Like, right.
And then like being like single parenthood kind of thrust upon him. Although at the end of the episode of a reunion, he does send Alexander to his parents, his human adopted parents, to raise Alexander as well. So, and we get some of the hints it's very clear that like Alexander's very much like his mother, and in later episodes that we get with Worf, and Worf's like continual struggle, like we kind of get the identity and Klingon culture clash between between Worf and K'Ehlyr's kind of continue through Alexander in later episodes, in that Alexander, like his mother, rejects the Klingon culture and couldn't give two shits about like being a war. In fact, in this episode, he's like, I don't want to be a warrior.
That was actually my favorite Alexander moment in this one.
And Worf's just like, what?
He's so pissed.
Yeah.
We do see in Deep Space Nine, Alexander, when he's older, he joins one of Martok's crew at some point, right? So he kind of like does eventually come back to the Klingon Empire a little bit, but a big plot point in Deep Space Nine is that he's really bad at being a Klingon. Like,
yeah,
that was kind of a fun,
because it's not really where he wants to be.
Yeah, but I feel like the last time we see him in Deep Space Nine, he's like, I'm going to transfer to this other crew and do something else, and then we just don't really hear from him again.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's fine. I mean, I think it's an interesting thing for Worf to explore, and sort of like why Worf feels. I mean, we kind of know why Worf feels so like attached, because he feels like because he did literally grow up outside of Kronos and not in the culture, so he's constantly trying to be as Klingon as he possibly can be. Meanwhile, his first mate and the mother to his child is like, I don't know, was raised there and was like, fuck this.
Right, yeah. It's also interesting too, like you see the sort of like the kind of culture warring with Worf of like more expectations from what the Federation would expect from one of its citizens versus what the Klingon Empire would expect from one of its citizens, like in Reunion at the end, with how he like deals with Duras, right? Like there's that whole kind of like, I did what's right by Klingon traditions. The Klingon Empire sees what I did as okay, and Picard's like, I'm not done with this. Like that's not how a Starfleet officer acts. Like that's like he's kind of always walked this line, and we see it later on in the redemption arc too, where he's kind of he leaves Starfleet for a while to kind of do some stuff. But it is, I mean, taking another step back too, like Worf's killed a few people. Like I feel like he's like straight up murdered people. I feel like I remember this being controversial in some of the newer Star Treks when we've had like characters like kill somebody, or they're like, oh, they're a murderer, and I'm like, well, Worf's been a murderer several times.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if we could go back, I'm sure most of the characters, even I don't know.
Yeah.
It really is strongly encouraged in the Klingon culture. Though,
it kind of is. Yeah. And I wasn't too upset about losing Duras.
Oh my god, no. And
yeah, Duras sucked.
Yeah.
But I suppose that kind of brings us to where we leave K'Ehleyr at the end of Reunion then, right?
Dead?
Yeah. So, I mean, ultimately, like we have this great character that we get in 2 episodes that, again, stands out like to the point where I think she's a very memorable character to a lot of people. I told you this and showed you this. I have a toy, an action figure of K'Ehleyr that I've had since a child, and it's a great toy. But she's only in those 2 episodes, and
she
then
gets
dies.
fridged. She
gets killed, and
she's fridged.
I mean, go ahead.
Baloney. No, I know. And I got so mad after we finished Reunion again. I mean, I knew she died, but just like kind of watching like the way it happens. And I told you at the time, I'm going to say it again into the mic, that I think that she didn't have to. We kind of rewatched the episode with the commentary after we finished watching the episode itself, and they were kind of, I don't know, I just feel like they were like, in every draft we wrote, like K'Ehleyr, like basically K'Ehleyr had to die, and I'm like, I don't think that's necessarily true. I feel like there was room after Crusher arrives and Worf leaves to go murder Duras, and like they could have had Crusher revive her or like get her into stasis or whatever. Like there was a choice there, and I feel like we still could have had like Worf go on his like murder spree, and K'Ehleyr still could have lived. I guess I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, obviously they would have changed like a lot of like things for Worf and Alexander, but I mean, I just wish we would have had more time with her. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't think that even so. Listening to the commentary track on this episode, it was Denise and Mike Akuda interviewing Brennan Braga and Ron Moore, who were kind of like crafting the episode Reunion specifically. And it's clear that when they were making this, they also weren't quite sure what they wanted to do with Alexander anyway. Right. So like you said, it would have changed the course of those characters. It certainly would have, but they didn't really necessarily have solid plans for them. So I don't know. It was a little like tough to listen to the commentary. I think we both felt that way. It's a little dry. For example, I've listened to more engaging commentaries for one. But there's definitely like talk where they talk about getting letters from fans saying like this was an important female character to like women Star Trek fans and you shouldn't have killed her off. And I feel like they do give service to talking about those letters they got, but I feel like ultimately are a little dismissive of that notion as being true for a lot of people.
Yeah, because they're men and like they're just like, I don't know. Whatever. I don't really want to like crap too much on it.
Yeah, we don't need to like litigate like their like takes on everything necessarily. I mean they've all done like great stuff for Trek, and like I know that's true, and it's just it's but yeah, like you're right. It's like
it's a problem of having like just too many sausages in the room. There's too many men in the room where like there's just no like thought to like what, I don't know, some of the impact might be on other viewers who are not like cishet white males basically.
Right. Yeah, definitely at that time like primarily men were making these decisions, and like like nowadays in the newer writers' rooms, like there's definitely a better mix of people, and somebody would have probably been like, hey, maybe that's not the best call. Like, hey, that's bridging.
At this point. Yeah. I'm not characters die. I get that. And like, sometimes I get mad about it regardless, but sometimes I actually think like it just isn't necessary, or I don't know. Poor K'Ehleyr. But anyway.
Yeah.
I will say, okay, I don't know if you noticed this. One thing I thought about immediately, because we watched these episodes back to back, and I don't think it never would have occurred to me before, but she has a totally different vibe in each episode. Did you feel the same way?
A little bit. Yeah, I did. Tell me more.
I think in Emissary, she's a lot more like bombastic in a way. And obviously like highly like sexually charged like the whole time, which is fine. I just noticed that like her presence is just like kind of just more like electrified and like kind of volatile too in the first one, and in Emissary, and in Reunion she seems like a little bit more chilled out. She's also really like kind of high strung about like the whole cryogenic Klingons waking up, and that she's like the only option is to kill them the whole time, and she's irritated that Picard and the rest of the Enterprise crew are insisting that they consider other options or try and find another way, and like that's that's literally her job, like that she's tasked with. And at least from Picard, and he's like, this is what I want you to look into and to do, and I feel like she just sort of throws the homework away. So metaphorically she's just like, there's only one solution to this problem, and that's the only solution I'm going to suggest. And but she's kind of a lot more chilled out, and I don't want to say like reserved, but I don't know, slightly softer in a way. I mean, she's still fiery in Reunion, but in a different way.
That's a good point. Yeah, I think I clocked that as well. Like she's a little more chill in Reunion, and I wonder how much of that was like an acting choice or like a storytelling choice about, now she has Alexander too. Like I wonder how much that might have impacted that, or perhaps like what the situation was calling for in this case. Like, I don't know. I think in terms of the writing was thought of to be as a much more delicate situation here, where like I feel like the frozen Klingons are kind of like whatever. It's almost like a joke at the end. Mm-hmm. Like this is like kind of like something to consider to have more like political weight and like storytelling canon weight. So I wonder if there's I don't know. I don't know why that might be. What do you think?
I don't know if I really stopped to consider why, or I don't know, and whose choice it was or whatever. I mean, it could have been direction choice too.
I think it could have been. Yeah, there was different directors. Like, so the Emissary is directed by Cliff Bole, and this one was a Frakes. Reunion's a Jonathan Frakes episode, so it could be. And I also think like over time, like in the early season 1 and 2, like even Worf was like way more like aggressive. I think
Yeah.
too, like, and he chilled out over time too. So maybe it's just like in general like vibe of how they wanted the Klingons to be perceived.
Perhaps, yeah.
Yeah, like I think that the way they like depicted the Chancellor Kempak, who died, right? Like he kind of was like portrayed as like kind of like a more reserved, like wise Klingon, and especially when in his conversations with Picard, and I'm guessing like you can't get to that position without being like wise. But I think that there just might have been a better handle at that point of what they wanted Klingons to be in the world.
In digging into the character of K'Ehleyr, I mean, it's brought up multiple times that she seems almost like I don't want to say prototype, that's not the word I'm saying, but just sort of inspiration perhaps for B'Elanna Torres in Voyager. And I think that it's very interesting to see how different they are as far as like being a half human, half Klingon and the way that's portrayed. So I'm glad that B'Elanna's not like sort of like a rehash of K'Ehleyr, and she's her own character. But I don't know if that was sort of like the producers or I guess just kind of like the larger like team, in the franchise kind of like pushing it forward and like the overarching like storytelling choices and casting choices. But like in the response to K'Ehleyr and her death and her end, if B'Elanna was some sort of like, well, we may have killed off K'Ehleyr, but here we'll give like a half human, half Klingon woman character like main cast status in this series.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I wonder if like in a world where K'Ehleyr wasn't killed off in TNG, do we have B'Elanna Torres?
I don't want to think about that, but
yeah, I guess you don't want to think about that. Like,
wait, why can't we have both?
I mean, I was just about to say that realistically we should be able to have both, but at the time, like, it was often like kind of a checklist for like, okay, we have one of these things, we're good, Yeah. But yeah, that's an interesting thing to consider.
Last little fun fact: Reunion is the first episode to introduce the Batleth.
Yes, I was wondering which one of us is going to bring that up. Yeah, I think that's a really cool like piece of it, like a really cool like Klingon culture bit to have. And the way that
so surprised
I didn't know it was that far into TNG that we got it. Yeah, but the way like Worf kind of teaches Alexander about it was really cool. Like how he holds it with his like forearm, so cool.
Oh, and okay, the one cool tidbit that the commentary did provide though was the word Batleth is basically a mashup of the Klingon words for honor and sword.
Yeah, that's right. I thought that was cool too. That's a really cool fact.
Honor sword.
Honor sword.
Definitely like what Klingons would call it. I wish that like humans more frequently would call it like a human or an honor sword.
Yeah.
You have your honor sword.
You got your honor sword? Got mine.
Batleth. Yeah.
I had a couple small fun facts too. I think I wanted to add just outside of our like discussion about characters and stuff, but one of the ones I thought was kind of interesting piece in the first episode, the Emissary, I think I might have told you this while we were watching it, but the decision like when Worf and K'Ehleyr finally like get it on in the holodeck to like do that like clenching fist with the blood coming out was like an on-set decision rather than like a writing decision beforehand. Like the director talked about like, yeah, we talked about and decided to just do like right there on set, like that idea. So it's kind of a fun like last minute addition that made it definitely unique. I also wanted to point out the Klingon calisthenics program that they use in that one with the like the really
creatures,
the really weird like 80s style like creature prosthetics they have in that. It's super fun, but it was fun to see that come back after it was in I think the episode where Silence Has Lease in season 2. We see that for the first time, so I kind of enjoyed seeing that back in the frame. There is kind of a cool like beta canon bit where like I think it was Peter David wrote the Starfleet Academy novels. They do like Worf mentions not having seen K'Ehleyr for like 6 years and something like that. Those novels actually detail some of their first meetings in the Academy, which is kind of fun. So if you're interested in more K'Ehleyr stuff, check that out for sure. Yeah, I think that'd be kind of fun. The Starfleet Academy novels I think are geared more to like YA. It could be kind of fun to get, especially for the kids, even something they could read. Put in my classroom maybe. I don't know. I would like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could find those out.
So there is some. I mean, it's not like
some
you're
more
saying like book canon.
Yeah.
Background, because I mean, it definitely felt like watching the Emissary that like it felt like you should have more context for the relationship, and they don't really provide anything extra in that episode, and then you don't essentially get it in Reunion either. It's just a follow-up to Emissary, and then she dies. So I don't know. I would be very curious to see what, to know what, I don't know, context might have been there, or maybe even what the actors themselves just thought. But
yeah, well, I guess if you want to look it up, I looked at my notes. I do have it. It's his Starfleet Academy duology, Line of Fire and Survival are the two books where Worf and K'Ehleyr first meet.
Okay,
so
cool.
We'll check those out. Yeah. The other thing I thought was kind of interesting to bring up was when we were listening to the commentary track as well for Reunion, and they talked about the early draft of that, where the plot would have been like taking place like right around Kronos, and we wouldn't. The original idea was nobody would know who Alexander's father was, and Duras wanted to claim to be his father for some reason, and that would have been like something to help his claim to becoming the next chancellor or whatever. Like there was some plots with that where she wasn't going to reveal like Worf being the father, which I believe kind of morphed into the storytelling element where Worf was kind of like, oh, you can't tell them I'm the father because I'm, dishonored in Klingon culture. He'll have to carry that dishonor if he chooses to be there. Like, I think that kind of morphed into that a little bit, but like, I'm really glad they didn't do this, like, oh, who's the father kind of plot thread, or like, oh, multiple people trying to claim that it's their son, that kind of thing. Seems just kind of like soap opera.
Glad that didn't happen.
Yeah, and I think that one was supposed to kick off like the Klingon Civil War, like an arc they were going to do there. So that, I mean, it was very different, but it was kind of interesting to hear like the early draft, what that could have been like.
Reunion is also the first appearance of Gowron, which is
love Gowron.
Interesting. Also, use that word a lot. Interesting, but
interesting.
Fascinating.
Yeah, fascinating. But yeah.
It's just fun to see that introduction again, having watched, the many episodes after that feature Gowron.
Yeah, he's in a lot of Deep Space Nine, especially. But yeah, seeing his first introduction here was kind of a lot of fun to go back to. So, any final thoughts before we go into our rating scale?
No, I think we hit on most of the points that I wanted to discuss.
All right, so. It's been a minute. Like you said, our rating scale, we have a 5-point patented rating scale.
Patented.
It's patented. Oh, patent pending. Patent pending.
Is it pending?
You could say that. Where we rate the romance in question. And we'll start at the bottom. A red alert, pretty self-explanatory. Yellow alert, just only slightly better. Fascinating is kind of a middle of the road. We're like, interested. The next one up would be fully functional, meaning we really like the relationship, or resistance is futile, meaning too hot to handle. So where would Worf and K'Ehleyr fall on our patented pending rating scale for you?
You give yourself a tongue twister for like no reason.
I did. That's true.
I'm going to be interested to hear what you have to say. Because I don't know, I guess I literally have no idea. But for me, it's falling into fascinating category.
Fascinating.
Because I would have wanted to see more, which I think we tend to say when we use fascinating. But also, I do think that they have, we discussed kind of the identity clashing in their relationship to Klingon culture that they had very different views on. And maybe in Reunion, there was a hint that they could meet in the middle somewhere, but they also seem to have a huge communication problem, as you mentioned. She didn't even mention to him that, she ended up pregnant and had a son. And so I think that, I'm not sure how, I guess, whether, even though I wanted to see more K'Ehleyr, I didn't necessarily need to see her and Worf together. It would have been like interesting and fun to see their relationship pan out for longer. But but I don't feel like there was anything toxic there. But it's just it was very complicated. But I think it was really cool to see Worf is kind of one of the first like relationships we see Worf in. So I think it was a really like great one to see fleshed out. Well, not fully fleshed out, but previewed.
As fleshed out as we got.
Yeah.
All right. So
All right, where are you? Okay, you're chuckling, so I think we're different.
A little bit. I actually thought.
But I'm right, so
Yeah, that's fair. You are right.
there's no opinions here. It's only correctness.
That's right. Yeah. I gave it a little bit of a yellow alert.
What, really?
But with the caveat that it has, I split it. I said a yellow alert with strong hints of a resistance is futile.
Yellow alert. Resistance is futile.
Oh, okay. You're doing kind of what our guests do, or you just sort of.
I just felt like this one was really called
like
for
cooking ingredients.
Yeah,
and you just like sprinkling whatever you want.
Bam, a little bit of resistance futile in there.
Oh,
so
okay.
I just had to because okay. So I'll go. I agree with you a lot of things, and I think some of the things, the communication issues, some of the way that they clashed, kind of drug me down just a little bit into a yellow alert. I was on the fence there. I think that if they were to have stayed together, if we had more time together, they would probably fight a lot still. And I don't know if that's necessarily great for.
No, he fought with Jadzia too.
They did, yeah, they did. But I feel
Worf's just like almost too intense as a partner.
Maybe you're right. But like, I don't know, like Worf's like commitment issues throughout these two episodes was just so striking. Like he's like, no, we must be bonded for life. And then like in the next one, she's like, okay, I think I'll do the oath. No, we cannot do the oath. I have dishonored. So like, it's like he can't like
whiplash.
Yeah. And she's like, come on. Like, so there's issues there.
But it's definitely related to his like identity crisis.
It is like, and I think that it could move up higher if he kind of figures his stuff out. Like, so maybe he just needs some time to work on himself before I'm willing to give it a fascinating, which he does. We see him in Picard, like very comfortable in who he is. Mm-hmm. He gets there. I think we made the case in our episode with Martok that it's his like relationship with Martok that really probably got him to chill out over those years, right? Like, which I think is true. I think that's absolutely true. So I don't know, perhaps if he had like a mentor figure like a Martok in his life at this point, like he would have been more confident and willing to just kind of throw caution to the wind and let what happen, you know, or what's going to happen. And so that, I know that kind of stuff drug it a little bit down. I just feel like the secrets, the lack of communication, the like commitment issues kind of give it a little bit of a yellow alert tinge for me. But I will say the resistance is futile bit, their passion is intense for each other. It's like electrifying, like that, to borrow a word that you used earlier. I like that. When they finally like accept that they're both into each other, like that, you know, that scene on the holodeck, that was like pretty hot, right? Like for them, like that was like, they were very into each other. They were sniffing each other and all that. Like, you know,
Klingons are intense.
Yeah, they're intense, and yeah, it's a Klingon thing, but yeah, it's there. So like, I think it's a really fun relationship. I think it's I really like. I enjoyed those two characters together. I think that the actors played well off each other. They brought a lot out of each other. It's a really fun thing. Like I think the problems are interesting. I don't think they're like toxic as in like, oh, I think that was written bad. I think it's just like that's just where they are as characters at that point. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So slight disagreements, but I think we ultimately agreed on a lot of things.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, you definitely like the pick kind of one but pair it with another. I don't know. I feel like that defeats the point of a scale.
It's true. Yeah, scale.
I don't say that to our
scale's
guests.
Got to be one, but I don't know. Sometimes I'm not going to do it all the time, but I feel like this one called for it.
You're gonna be keep doing that. I just know it.
No, I will not.
Okay, just watch, listeners. I'm gonna.
Yeah, just watch the podcast.
Listen, not watch.
Before we go to our next thing, we have a kind of a new segment that we're adding in where to kind of help me out in the editing room with coming up with titles for this. I always feel like I'm trying to figure out a title. We pigeonholed ourselves into like having love in all of the titles somehow, and I'm running out of ideas. So I thought that we would try to workshop a title for this episode on air, and we're going to see how this goes, and maybe this will be a recurring segment. But I asked you, Nicole, to think of an idea for what this episode should be called. Did you come up with an idea?
I did. I don't like it as much anymore, so now I'm not even trying to sell it. But I don't know. Okay, so I wrote down Love and Oaths. Oh,
Love and Oaths. That's kind of a fun one, actually. I like
wow, you're liking it. Okay.
I wrote Love and Honor.
Wow.
I think yours is better than mine.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How about Honor Amongst Lovers?
Oh, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're going to go with that one. That's good. See, the workshopping live helps.
There we go.
Yes, that was good. Okay. Honor amongst lovers. There you have it. That's it.
Here we go.
That was good. Okay,
You're
cool.
welcome.
I actually kept coming back to the Love is a Battlefield one, which we used for the Martok episode, Martok Sorella episode.
Yeah.
It just fits with Klingon romances, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But yeah, okay. I like this one. Anyway, good discussion overall. Yeah. Now at this point, we are going to hop on over to our interview with Suzie Plakson. It was, as we mentioned before, it was such a joy to chat with her. She was, and it was enlightening to hear her talk about K'Ehleyr, as well as like other characters she played on Star Trek. She played several other characters in Enterprise.
Yeah, if you didn't know.
Voyager, and TNG even. She played the Vulcan Dr. Salar. She played the female Q in Voyager. She played one of the Andorians in Enterprise. So she's been kind of all over Star Trek and kind of has a really cool storied career with the franchise. And recently, and outside the franchise as well. And she had recently came out with a new audiobook called The Poor Dead K'Ehleyr Show, which is available on her website, on her Instagram, and we'll definitely link to all those things. And we talk about the audiobook, and she shares some stories from her time on set and everything.
But if you really want the
in-depth,
then
you got to check out the audiobook.
Yeah.
We listened to it. It's great. I think it's breezy. It's real short, but it's super fun. But anyway, without further ado, here's our interview with Suzie Plakson. All right, we have with us Suzie Plakson, who we know from the 4 roles she's played in the 3 Star Trek series, Dr. Salar and K'Ehleyr in The Next Generation, Lady Q in Voyager, and Tara in Enterprise. But Suzie's been in theater, TV, and film actress in productions like Mad About You, Love and War, Wag the Dog, Dinosaurs, Everybody Loves Raymond, etc. She's a multimedia artist who's done voiceovers, written short stories and poetry, written and performed an alternative country rock album even, created a philosophical comedy solo show, written and narrated the allegorical myth Return of the King Lillian, and she produces sculptures large and small in otherwise unused oven. Wow, what a resume. Welcome, Suzie, to our podcast. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, it's such a joy to chat with you. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. We're, aside from little technical gremlins that are trying to get us, we're not going to let them.
Yes, we're going to push through.
Yes, we are.
Well, we are super excited to have you here. Nicole and I, we just recently listened to your new audiobook, The Poor Dead K'Ehleyr Show. And we were listening to it on the way up north. We were driving and we just had a blast. I feel like we're just both grinning the whole time. It was so much fun. But for the listeners who are not familiar, could you just give us a brief overview of what that book is?
I'll tell you how delicious it is to hear you say that you had a blast the whole time. It was so much fun. You were smiling the whole time, because that's certainly that makes me very, very happy. All right, what I'm going to do is so cheesy. I'm going to actually read you what will amount to being a little commercial. It's what the when you click on the link, which I assume you'll put below the show notes,
yes.
This is what you'll see. So there once was a little performance art piece I did on the Star Trek convention circuit. I performed it about a dozen times, all told, in league with my dear pal, terrific makeup artist, John Paladin. And though I don't perform it anymore, one day, at the suggestion of a good friend, I decided to record it, tossing in the tale of how it came to be, plus another tale or two for posterity. Now, no question about it, The Poor Dead K'Ehleyr Show is an oddball of an audiobook. It's a 35-minute odyssey strewn with Trek tales. That is, some behind-the-scenes stories from my journeys through guesting as 4 different alien species. Tales that include people like Gene Roddenberry and Michael Westmore. And then, most saliently, featuring Return of K'Ehleyr. She speaks to us from beyond the veil with a tale or two of her own to tell, as written and performed by me, SP. Now, I had a ball creating this little audiobook. Yes, just specifically for Star Trek fans. And I sure hope you guys think it's a fun ride. And it's available only and exclusively on my website for $12.12. But I'm so thrilled you had fun. Yay!
Yeah, and we will absolutely link to your website and the audiobook itself too.
Matt, very kind of you. Thank you.
So you've played multiple roles across a few Trek shows. As Joe mentioned in your intro, you were the Vulcan Dr. Salar, as well as of course, the beloved K'Ehleyr on TNG, the half Klingon, and the female Q on Voyager, and also Tara, the Andorian on Enterprise. Is there one character you connected with the most on an emotional or personal level? Was there one that was distinctly the most fun to play?
Well, I think there are about 3 different answers. Let's see if I can remember all of them. The first is that springs to mind and heart is the Vulcan, because it was the first and because the connection to my brother and I watching Star Trek, and it was the only Star Trek I've ever watched, because he's the sci-fi guy. But I won't tip the story that I talk about in the audiobook. Mm-hmm. But so emotionally, the idea of me calling my big brother up and returning to our silliness and fun in our childhoods, that was really a blast. And the other thing that occurs to me, and I don't mean to take the fun out of anything, but I approached all of them as I would approach when I was doing sitcoms. Any guest star, it's part of the gig to establish an emotional connection or pretend to really well. Either way, that's what it's about. So I would make sure that I had an emotional connection to each one, or I pretended really well to make sure that I had an emotional connection. But the fun, I would pretty easily say Q is more my cup of tea. Because I'm I'm an old theater gal, so I love drawing room, parlor, comedy, tight-jawed, narcissistic, hilarious, funny people. I mean, to me, she was also a little bit like Endora in Bewitched. So to me, I think those would be, that's the most instant that I think of fun. Because I think the other thing that I want to relay, and again, not to take any fun out of it, but the notion that when I look back on the other 3 characters with all of the makeup, with the long, because that lengthens the days so intensively. And I look back and I basically remember being tired a lot of the time.
I can imagine.
Yeah, well, you get up at 3, you're there at 4. I mean, and you sit in a chair for God knows how long, and then maybe they've broken for lunch already, and then maybe you're lighting. There's 2 or 3 hours of lighting, and you might not get on set till who knows when. So it's the transformation is amazing, but it's it's a gig, it's a job, it's part of it, it's part of the gig. That's okay.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. Speaking of K'Ehleyr, given that's like the topic of the audiobook a little bit and like kind of our episode here, what did you enjoy most about playing that character specifically?
I would say probably putting my fist through a glass table. Because when do you get to do that in real life without shredding your hand or getting someone really upset with you?
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
I mean, think about that, She didn't even cut herself. So, I do know I had 2 shots at doing it. So maybe I didn't enjoy it as much as I would have if I knew I'd had 3, because I wanted it to be perfect, But it's kind of cool to be able to turn around and just go and, in one punch, destroy a table. I wonder if she stayed to clean up. My thought is no.
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 Still badass.
Or a little rude.
A little rude. That's okay.
to let an ensign, some poor ensign.
Yeah, that seems like a really fun thing to be able to do, is like, get away with punching a table.
Right. And again, not shredding your hand or breaking, or hurting yourself at all, and not having anyone be like, I can't believe that you were an ambassador and you came onto our ship and you're breaking up the furniture,
Some of the fun of playing a Klingon or a half Klingon must be playing around with like the anger.
I don't know that I would say that was any more fun than anything else. It's part of and remember, we're talking about 35 to 40 years ago, and we're talking about 1.5 episodes. So we're not talking about like playing it for 2 years or a year, in which you really. So I hate to disappoint, but I don't actually recall that being the juiciest part of it. However, I must have just admitted to that by the fact that I said it was a blast to put my fist through a glass table with no repercussions.
Oh, yes, no consequences.
Right.
How was working pretty closely with Michael Dorn for a lot of your scenes as K'Ehleyr?
I will always have great love and affection for Michael. He's just a darling, and he's fun and funny. So I couldn't have asked for a better half Klingon mate. Or no, he wasn't half Klingon. I was. That's right.
Mm-hmm. That's nice to hear. Was the intent for K'Ehleyr to originally be like in the couple episodes, or was it just be like a one episode, and then they're like, we like the character, so we're going to bring it back more?
Oh, well, first off, aren't we talking about a space of about 3 years, 2.5?
It was a little while, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't like,
Yeah.
Again, I just say when you're a guest star, and that's what I was doing a lot of in those days, you're kind of like a temp.
Mm-hmm.
So you come in, they're not going to tell you, they don't tell you what's going on. And so nobody said, I don't even think they knew. I think they just, as a matter of fact, I can tell you almost 100% they didn't know if it was 3 years later. So it was really wild. I'm going to answer a question you didn't ask, but when I was asked back the second time, my agent told me, said, "Oh, they want you to come back and play that character," and he said, "And they're going to kill you." And my first response was, "Oh God, how exciting! I have never died on screen."
Oh, really?
An actor, that's a huge challenge. Can I do it? Oh no! And then almost immediately I was like, "Oh no, I'm just going to suck. I'll be terrible at dying because I'm funny. That's not going to what I hope I can do it." And then I read it and I went, oh good, she's almost dead. I can pull that off. And then it occurred to me, because I was just going about my thing, doing what it occurred to me sort of dimly. I went, well, that seems kind of a lost opportunity, but I just worked there. It ain't my show. And I would find out as the years went on. I think I found I ran into, the first time I became aware of it, I ran into Ron Moore on the Paramount lot. And I don't remember what was going on, what year, but he was telling me that they'd gotten a lot of hate mail, apparently, from all over the world, that they had killed this character. By the way, I have a little quiz for you. What is the proper pronunciation of K'Ehleyr?
Oh, now I'm making me question it. I've said K'Ehleyr. Is it wrong?
And about you, Nicole?
I don't know. I feel like maybe there should be a pause. Like instead of K'Ehleyr, it should be K'Ehleyr. K'Ehleyr.
Okay. You both, as Star Trek fans, need to go back to the first episode.
Okay.
Oh no.
And listen. Everybody does. I find it fascinating. I'm just from the outside looking in. I find it fascinating. I hadn't seen it in, since it was, I'd only seen it once. And when I went to watch it to create this stage show, I noticed that she introduced herself as K'Ehleyr.
With the emphasis on the lar.
Which I think is beautiful.
But
it just, and I just think it's sort of interesting in a kind of sociological way. They kill her early. They didn't actually hear her. I just think that's kind of fascinating. But yeah, that's how you say it. Don't worry, no one gets it right. Any Star Trek, but no one gets it right. I'm astounded.
Everyone listening to this now will hopefully get it right moving forward.
Yeah, truthfully, I could have changed my pronunciation, but I didn't want to be a salmon swimming upstream. It's not, it's okay by me, but I think it's fun to tell actual Star Trek fans.
No, that was good. Most of your you kind of already talked about this, but I guess because you wore a lot of prosthetics and makeup for a lot of your Trek characters.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it's just kind of it's a long haul.
It is a long haul. It is a grind. Now, here's the thing. On the ideal and idea side of things, I love the notion of using masks in a way and acting through that. I think that's really, there's something kind of magical about that. I love that. The actuality of it is a grind.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, if I was sitting like this, like the Andorian, it was, you know, just late in the day. And then it was sitting like this for the folks at home is I've got my hand on my face because I'm tired and I'm leaning on my hand. And then I would move my hand and go, and you'd like pop the paint. So they'd have to come and repair for the side of a house, you know, and spray paint you. But that being said, you know, again, the actual transformation is the opposite side of the coin. And I remember there was a moment as the Andorian, and I caught a glimpse of myself in silhouette on the sand on the set.
Ooh.
And I went, space chick.
Yeah.
You know, super cool. It was super cool. So, you know, that's why it's a gig. That's why in those days they paid us well, and you know that's good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, by the time you get home, there's still blue in your ear. You know, and I have super, and I'm not saying it to complain. I'm just saying to report. You know, this is how it was. That I have incredibly thin skin and incredibly sensitive skin. So Michael Westmore, God bless him, would helped me take the makeup off with peanut oil. Because otherwise my skin would come off. Mm-hmm. So, you know, but again, part of the gig.
Wow. So having been on a lot of the Star Trek shows in that era, involving aliens or kinds of characters, do you have any desire or hope to be in like future Star Trek, or is there a specific like alien you'd really want to portray?
I'm good, I think. You know, there's a whole lot of art. I've just become an official senior citizen, and life is short, and there's a whole lot of art that I really want to create that's really after my own soul. So I think I'm, you know, I've kind of wrapped it up like a beautiful present, you know, in my heart. And that's what I meant the audiobook to be, in a way, you know, to be a sort of a little love letter, speaking of deep space love, to the fans, you know.
Yeah, it really is it's a great wrap.
Oh, thank you. Good to hear.
Well, speaking of other stuff that you do, other art, you know, whether it's any other art or any roles or gigs you have outside of Star Trek that you'd like to tell fans about that we should check out?
I mean, I've been an actor for about 40 years. So, you know, here's what I think. If anybody feels curious, they can go to my website, SuziePlakson.com, and have a look around. And they can see sculpture or music or writing or whatever. And I also can be pretty active on my, I know it's so elderly to you young people for me to be pretty active on my official Facebook page, but that's where I kind of use it as a little bit of a stage sometimes. And I'll put out some music or poetry or sculpture, or I've been writing these stories now and again called Little Brushes with Great Artists, and I'll do that. It's not, I don't want to mislead anybody, it's not a Trek page. If people are curious what the actual actress who actually kind of does some writing would have concocted to, let's say, put a little Band-Aid on the wound of this character having died way too early, you know, then they might want to listen to this audiobook. They might want to check it out, because that's the, I would say, cherry on top of the sundae of the thing. Wouldn't you?
Agreed. Yes.
I made them say that. I made them agree with me.
Well, thank you. I don't want to take too much of your time, but thank you so much for being willing to chat with us.
I'm so very pleased and honored to have chatted with you, and thank you so much for buying the book, and or the audiobook rather, and have a beautiful rest of evening. So lovely to meet you guys.
You as well.
Same to you. Thank you.
Out there, everybody listening, deep space love coming at you.
And definitely buy the audiobook for anyone listening. We will link it in the show notes. It is fantastic, highly recommended. Definitely check it out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you. You know what? I want to say one more thing. It's called, just so people will know, The Poor Dead K'Ehleyr Show, a little audiobook for Star Trek fans.
Thank you again to Suzie for joining us for the interview. And thank you, listeners, for taking the time to listen to our chat about Worf and K'Ehleyr and listening to our interview with Suzie. Hopefully we won't be as long between episodes next time. We've got some cool stuff on the docket. We were actually talking about it as we were driving around today. Some stuff that we have planned for the future. So keep tuning back in. And until next time, love long and prosper.